Barca wants to negotiate down the buyout option set at €30 million for Marcus Rashford. OM is the club of my heart. The ideal path is to finish as OM manager. These words from Habib Beye resonate even more strongly today. I spent 4 exceptional years in Marseille. My only regret is not having won any trophies. I was captain of this team. I experienced 3 finals in 4 years. It's a club where the supporters loved me. Being in front of 60,000 people chanting your name gives you great emotions. It's the club where I had the most fun, where my career was most accomplished. My daughter was born in Marseille. The story is beautiful and we hope it will be even more so in a few months. Here is the Serie A top 7 after 25 match days. Inter Milan has a 7-point lead over their rival, AC Milan. Bodø Glimt's last 3 matches, 3-1 victory against Inter Milan, 2-1 victory against Atletico Madrid, and 3-1 victory against Manchester City. For a city of 55,000 inhabitants, the feat is insane. Arsenal on the way to second place? Second draw in a row for the Gunners in the Premier League. They are 5 points ahead of Manchester City but with an extra game played. Mehdi Benatia, the choice of Habib Beye as the new OM coach is fully in line with our desire to recruit a technician endowed with the leadership necessary to take charge of a group that must, obviously, be remobilized after a complicated sporting period. From our first exchanges, he seemed extremely committed and totally focused on what's next, with clear objectives for everyone, quickly finding the way back to victory, aiming for a place on the Ligue 1 podium, and trying to win the Coupe de France to offer the people of Marseille a trophy. But it's not possible. Arsenal. The Gunners draw against the worst team in the Premier League. City can come back within 2 points. Leverkusen wins 2-0 in Greece against Olympiacos. A brace from Patrick Schick. A good lead before the return leg in Germany. A characteristically spectacular match in Bruges. A draw between the Belgian club and Atletico Madrid, 3-3. Everything will be decided in the return leg in Madrid. The Alvarez-Griezmann-Lookman attack since they have been lined up together. 2 matches, 5 goals, and 3 assists. Villarreal strengthens its place on the Liga podium. The Yellow Submarine now has a 3-point lead over Atletico de Madrid. Ousmane Dembélé seemed reassured by the state of his left calf this Wednesday. Medical exams will have to confirm his sensations. Newcastle destroys Karabakh 6-1 in the Champions League playoffs. Anthony Gordon scored a quadruple. The Magpies will therefore start the second leg at home with a 5-goal lead. If Prestianni really said that, there will be a collective suspension because this type of behavior is unacceptable. Mikhail Silvestre, member of the FIFA Players Committee, speaks out on the events from the day before yesterday during Benfica Real Madrid. We are looking for ways to sanction players who cover their mouths. Certain witnesses, like Kylian Mbappé, stated they clearly heard the remarks made. This constitutes testimony. The investigation must be conducted quickly, as the return match takes place in 7 days. If the facts are proven, the player should not be allowed to play. After disappearing from the radar, Thomas Lemar is finally back. The Frenchman is among the 5 players nominated for the January Liga Player of the Month title along with Mike Courtois, Abdi, Valverde, and Luis Milla. Pablo Longoria is expected to leave OM soon. Discussions are to be initiated via his lawyer. Gianni Infantino speaks out following the incidents that occurred during Benfica Real Madrid. I was shocked and saddened to see the alleged incident of racism targeting Vinícius Jr during the UEFA Champions League match between SL Benfica and Real Madrid CF. There is absolutely no place for racism in our sport and in society. We must ensure all relevant stakeholders take action and hold those responsible accountable. At FIFA, through the Global Anti-Racism Initiative and the Players' Voice Panel, we are committed to ensuring that players, officials, and fans are respected and protected, and that appropriate measures are taken when incidents occur. I commend François Letexier for activating the anti-racism protocol by using the arm gesture to interrupt the match and manage the situation. FIFA and football express their full solidarity towards the victims of racism and all forms of discrimination. I will always continue to reaffirm, no to racism. No to any form of discrimination. Philippe Coutinho will terminate his contract with Vasco da Gama at the age of 33. The French Ligue 3 could serve as a laboratory for refereeing, allowing for the testing of certain innovations against time wasting or by introducing the possibility of temporary exclusions. The French Football Federation will devote €11 million to the launch of Ligue 3 starting next season. These sums will be distributed through the club license, as well as aid for travel and relegation, affirms Philippe Diallo. Vinícius is very grateful to Kylian Mbappé for taking his defense the day before yesterday. The two players have always maintained a good relationship within the Madrid team. Real Madrid has assured the Brazilian that the club will support him to the end. SL Benfica issues a new statement to provide its support to Prestianni. Sport Lisboa e Benfica welcomes with a spirit of total collaboration, transparency, openness, and clarity the measures announced today by UEFA, following the alleged case of racism that occurred during the match against Real Madrid. The club reaffirms, clearly and unequivocally, its historic and unfailing commitment to defending the values of equality, respect, and inclusion, which correspond to the fundamental values of its foundation and of which Eusebio is the greatest symbol. Sport Lisboa e Benfica reaffirms its unfailing support for the version of facts presented by the player Gianluca Prestianni, whose behavior within the club has always been guided by respect for opponents, institutions, and the principles that define Benfica's identity. The club deplores the defamation campaign of which the player has been a victim. Arsenal has been informed that Nico Williams would be open to a departure from Athletic Bilbao this summer. He has a contract running until June 2035 and a €100 million clause. Real Madrid plans to release a special edition jersey in early 2027 to celebrate the club's 125th anniversary. This first prediction, based on leaks, is simply sublime. Lewis Hamilton's message of support to Vinícius Jr, "We are with you." Gianluca Prestianni could be heavily sanctioned if UEFA were to recognise the remarks denounced by Vinícius. If the facts are confirmed, UEFA regulations provide for a minimum suspension of 10 matches for any player found guilty of racist remarks. Julian Alvarez reportedly has a preference for Barca in the event of a departure. Atletico still wishes to extend his contract. UEFA statement following the Prestianni-Vinícius affair: official match reports for the games played last night are currently under review. Where appropriate, proceedings are initiated and, if they lead to disciplinary sanctions, these are published on the UEFA disciplinary website. We have no further information to provide nor any other comments to make on this subject at this stage. Gianluca Prestianni defends himself and claims to have said nothing racist. I want to say that at no time did I address racist insults to Vinícius Jr, who unfortunately misinterpreted what he believes he heard. I have never been racist with anyone. And I am pained to have been threatened by Real Madrid players. Pedri is back at Barca training. Real Madrid announces to UEFA that it has all available evidence regarding the incidents that occurred against Benfica. Real Madrid CF announces that it has today transmitted to UEFA all available evidence regarding the incidents that occurred on Tuesday, February 17th, during the Champions League match played in Lisbon against SL Benfica. Our club has actively cooperated in the investigation opened by UEFA following the unacceptable acts of racism that occurred during this match. Real Madrid is grateful for the unanimous support and affection that its player Vinícius Jr has received from all sectors of world football. Real Madrid will continue to work, in collaboration with all institutions, to eradicate racism, violence, and hatred in sport and in society. According to La Liga, Vinícius has been the victim of racist insults 26 times in Spain and in 10 different stadiums. OL is interested in Federico Gatti from Juventus. Premier League clubs are also on the case. It seems that Cucurella will be unavailable for 3 to 4 weeks after his exit at half-time in the 2-2 draw against Leeds. If his absence is indeed for weeks, he will miss the following matches: Burnley, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Wrexham, and the Champions League round of 16 first leg against Newcastle on March 14th. Thiago Silva's son, Ego, made his debut with the England under-15 team this week in a victory against Cyprus. Michael Olise: I've faced a lot of high-level players over the years, but the most difficult is Marc Cucurella. I've played against him several times, and believe me, it's never easy. Rodrigo de Paul, I think it's harder to win the MLS than the Champions League. Hansi Flick is reportedly urging Deco to compete directly with Real Madrid to secure the services of Nico Schlotterbeck, having lost confidence in several of his current defensive options. Following recent FC Barcelona matches, the German coach is deeply dissatisfied with his defense's performances and feels a thorough overhaul is necessary. Diego Simeone, I leave with the feeling that the team competed very well against a formidable opponent here. It's a fair draw against what is perhaps the most intense opponent in the Champions League. The Camp Nou budget is exploding. The initial cost of €960 million for the works with Limac has already been exceeded. It is now estimated that the final bill will climb by an additional €200 to €300 million. Estimated total cost, between €1.1 and €1.2 billion. Use of reserve funds and the loan from Goldman Sachs. Inspection this Thursday to move to a capacity of 62,000 seats starting this weekend against Levante. José Mourinho claims that referee François Letexia had a small piece of paper with the players who were not supposed to receive a yellow card. There is nothing to explain, it's all very obvious. I have 1,400 matches under my belt, it's simple. He had a small piece of paper on which was written Carreras, Tchouaméni, Huijsen, if they take a yellow card, they cannot play. Someone told him they couldn't take a yellow. Mark Pubil, the return match at home will be crucial. Our supporters will back us all the way. I am sure we will go through. Levante is pushing to sell Eterion to CSKA Moscow, who made an offer exceeding €30 million. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United, and Arsenal are showing significant interest this summer. Gavi continues to gain strength in individual training with the ball. In the coming days, he should rejoin the group before his scheduled return in March. Real Madrid has faced 74 different opponents in the Champions League. Arsenal is the only team from the 5 major European leagues against which they have played several times without ever winning. Vinícius Jr has been the target of 20 acts of racism, directly or indirectly, since his arrival in Europe in 2018. One of these cases resulted in a historic decision. 3 Valencia supporters were sentenced to 8 months in prison and banned from the stadium for 2 years, which constitutes the first conviction of this type in Spanish football. Joan Laporta stated that the authorities do not want Barca to win. I have never been so sure that we were going to win La Liga. It will be a league where we are going to fight against everyone, because there are those who do not want us to win it. I am not just talking about the sporting aspect. There are certain circles of power that do not want us to win. Kylian Mbappé on X, dance Vini Jr and please, never stop. They will never tell us what we should or should not do. The FC Barcelona staff is preparing a special nutritional plan for Lamine Yamal, as he has started Ramadan. Senegal will face Peru in a friendly at the Stade de France next March 28th.